Those top 10 picks that turn into bricks. Those waiver wire studs that turn into duds. Welcome to Hot Soup Fantasy Football, overachievers and underachievers for week 7. A lot of overachievers we had, man. We're going to start out with our quarterbacks. Number 3 quarterback in scoring in week 7 was Gardner Minshew. Waiver wire ad just 2 weeks ago. Richardson's out for the season. Gardner Minshew has the reins to that offense. Went off for 305 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 3 rushes for 29 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Minshew was an animal. Oh, my God. Ended up with 34.1 fantasy points in standard scoring this week, man. Gardner Minshew, go get you some Gardner. If he's on the bench, he's going to be picked up in every single league. He needs to be at least rostered and put on your bench for plug and plays during the rest of the season. He knows how to get the ball downfield. Obviously, Richardson was running the ball a lot. Having Gardner Minshew is going to help out the running backs as well as the receivers in this offense. Downs was just an absolute animal. Michael Pittman had a big game, a big reception for a touchdown. I see that team doing pretty well with Gardner behind the saddle. So if you don't have Gardner Minshew and he's on your waiver wire, he needs to be a top priority ad for week 8. Number 6 quarterback who is on the waiver wire. He's only owned in like 10% leagues. Tyrod Taylor. No Danny Dimes, no problem. This Tyrod Taylor play is making Danny Dimes look like a bad decision. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to keep it like that. Tyrod went out and threw for 279, had Darren Waller, the baller, looking like an animal, finally. He threw for 2 touchdowns, had 8 rushes for 25 yards, ended up number 6 overall quarterback in scoring this week at 21.6 points. Great job, Tyrod Taylor. Great job, New York. Hey, man, I think you got your starting quarterback for the rest of the year. Running backs. Ooh! Chicago. Deontay Foreman with the number 1 running back performance of the week. No Justin Fields, no problem. The rookie out there getting it done. Deontay Foreman was an absolute train in this matchup. Deontay Foreman goes off for 16 rushes, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions for 31 yards and a touchdown, scores 33 fantasy points, and is the number 1 running back in week 7. Who saw it coming, right? I did. I started him in 4 leagues. I had some running backs out, running backs hurt. I got him in 6, went and picked him up. Of course, I'm a Chicago fan. I'm a Chicago Bear. No Rashawn Johnson, no problem. Number 2 running back was Jahmyr Gibbs. He ended up number 3 on the week with 29.3 fantasy points, 11 rushes, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Also had 9 receptions for 58 yards. No David Montgomery, no problem. Man, Jahmyr Gibbs is the future. Obviously, David Montgomery, we want him in close situations, goal line situations, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. We're going to put Montgomery in there, let him churn them out. But the explosiveness of Jahmyr Gibbs, the talent of Jahmyr Gibbs is second to Bijan Robinson only. Jahmyr Gibbs, y'all Jahmyr Gibbs lovers out there, man. Hey, not to down David Montgomery, man, but y'all got a special player on your roster. Hey, we need to keep starting him in, week out. We've seen what he can do with a full workload. And the workload really wasn't even that full. But I'll tell you what, man, if we can get this guy 25 touches a game, he's going to be a monster. He had 11 rushes, 68 yards, again, 1 TD and 9 receptions for 58 yards. Gus Edwards finally breaks out of his shell. Gus Edwards goes off for 14 rushes, 64 yards, a touchdown, and a reception for 80 yards. That's right, man. 9 points off of 1 play. Gus Edwards, I'm not going to say he's going to have a game like this all the time, but that offense was clicking. Lamar Jackson had one of the best games of his career. Went slap off, threw for like 370 or 360 or something like that through the air. 4 touchdowns. He was on fire. That entire offense was on fire. When things are clicking like that, Gus Edwards can have huge days. If you don't have Gus Edwards, I bet you're going to pick him up this week because he's on your waiver wire. Receivers. Woo! Ooh, Joshua Downs. Man, that kid Josh Downs over there in Indianapolis went slap all 5 receptions, 125 yards and a touchdown. He was number 3 in fantasy scoring for receivers this week with 27.5 points. Man, love me some Josh Downs. Second on the list for all those people who said, oh, Puka Nacua is over. I told you it was going to happen. There was going to be some games where he have a big game. Some games he may bust. Some games he may boom. Puka Nacua went slap off for 8 receptions and 154 yards. He was the number 2 receiver in scoring this week. Had Cooper Kupp looking like Elijah Moore over in Cleveland. Joshua Palmer. Oh, over with the Chargers, man. Look, Keenan Allen had a pedestrian game. Palmer stepped up. Even though they got smacked, your boy Palmer went off for 5 receptions, 133 yards. We knew he could be a big game player. We knew when Mike Williams went out, the receiver we wanted to go pick up. He was number 6 receiver on the week overall with 22.3 points. Man, if Palmer's still on your waiver wires, y'all need to go pick him up now. He's going to be a key to that offense moving forward. Tight ends, man. Taysom Hill was an overachiever. Nobody expected Taysom Hill to do what he did. Had 16.8 fantasy points. Number 5 tight end in fantasy scoring this week with 5 rushes, 18 yards, a touchdown. And they got him involved in the passing game. Man, had 4 receptions for 50 yards, was looking good. Looking good. And you know he has a lot of potential, man, to score touchdowns in the red zone. We see that week in and week out. And we have Jamal Williams healthy. And they still was putting Taysom Hill in, trying to run that man at the goal line. He is the man, all-purpose player over in New Orleans. Get him off your waivers. I'm not saying start him every week, but we need to have him rostered. And number 6 tight end overall in scoring this week was Dalton Kincaid over in Buffalo, man. He finally had a breakout game with 8 receptions, 75 yards. He's going to be the number 1 over there moving forward is what it's looking like. He's in a great offense. Go get you some Dalton Kincaid. Make sure he's on your bench if you're having tight end issues. Those are your overachievers for week 7. You can come check us out on our next episode for our underachievers. It's your boy Hot Soup. Find us on YouTube. Find us on Facebook. Find us on TikTok. Find us on Instagram. Go to YouTube, like and subscribe. It's your boy Hot Soup. I got the recipe for your soup. Holla.